Hey everybody, welcome to the YS Podcast. My name is Adam McLean. This week's podcast features two presenters from YS One Day. Maybe you don't know about it, but it's a spring tour that's coming up pretty soon. It's going to start in a city near you. Check it out at ysOneday.com. Our first segment comes to you from Heather Fleece. And not only is she one of our presenters, she's also an author. And she's going to share a tip with you. Now, something's kind of cool here. She's down on the floor, so you're going to want to go ahead and grab your monitor or your laptop or whatever and just sit on the floor and learn this little tip from Heather.
Oftentimes I find that youth workers imagine that they have one youth group, but that is incorrect. They actually have three youth groups. They have one youth group that is guys and girls combined, but they also have a youth group that is all boys and a youth group that is all girls. Typically, people bend toward the combined group, or I find the girl group. I think it's incredibly important to understand that you have both guys and girls, and in your teaching and in your programming, you have got to honor both the guys and girls. So let's talk about the guys for a second. Pretty much everything in church is geared toward girls. We tell the boys to come and sit, be still, sing, and talk about their feelings. Pretty much not what guys want to do. The way that we teach is often lecture format or note-taking. Those things are great for girls, but not great for guys. So if you want to honor your youth group of guys, the guys in your ministry, you need to figure out how to have spots for silly, spots for active, and spots for tangible stuff within your teaching and within your programming. So for instance, if you're teaching on anger, you could pull a bunch of kids up front, especially boys, and you could take tablets of Alka-Seltzer and a Dixie cup filled with warm 7-Up. And by the way, I'm stealing this from Duffy Robbins and Helen Music in one of their books about great analogies to use. You have the kids put the Alka-Seltzer in their mouth on the tip of their tongue and then have to put the whole Dixie of 7-Up in their mouth. And the goal is to keep their mouth shut as long as possible. Now, of course, if you're proactive as a youth worker, you already have the tarp on the floor or the garbage bags on the floor or the garbage can in front of the kids. But they hold it in their mouth. It's hilarious. They start foaming at the mouth, and they eventually spew all over the place, and the winner is the one with the mouth closed the longest. And the idea is that we tell them that if you hold anger in too long, it's going to spew all over. And so it would be better to be proactive and talk about your anger and process through your anger. Middle school boys especially love that kind of stuff. And I can pretty much guarantee you that they're going to remember that example, whereas if you just talked about it up front and explained it up front, they wouldn't remember. Do you have spots during your teaching time where kids can run around and be crazy, where they can do role plays, where they can act out Jesus sending the pigs, sending the demons into the pigs? Do you have places like that? Or are all you doing is talking? If so, you're blessing the girls, because girls love to listen, they love to relate, they love to dialogue. So if you want to honor the girls during your teaching time, you would have times of breakout where they would turn and talk with each other and come up with the top 5 struggles that they have with their parents, or the top 5 ways they like to be a witness to their friends. You would ask them to talk about their feelings and to share their feelings. You would give them time to reflect, time to journal. All those things would honor the girls in your youth group. Okay, so what about when you move outside of the teaching time and you have programmatic kind of things? Do you have things that are adventurous for the boys? We have something called the Strobe Light Pillow Fight Gut Bombing Night. It is an event designed specifically for middle school boys. We go on a fast food progressive supper. So we load them up on the bus. We go to Taco Bell. I've called ahead of time. They have nachos and cheese all spread out for us. The guys eat them. We go to Burger King next and get a 32-ounce beverage. They chug it. We go to McDonald's next and get an extra large French fry. They chug it. Then we go to White Castle for the main course, and they eat sliders. And they call them sliders, by the way, because they slide right in and they slide right out. And we have an eating competition. One of my guys last year actually ate 14 sliders after he'd already had all that food. Then we go to Krispy Kreme for supper, chow down as many donuts as possible. Then we go back to the church, in the gym, blacked out, strobe lights, dry ice for the strobe lit pillow fight. It's a blast. My guys love it. Are you doing adventurous things for your guys? And guess what? The girls love it, because there are boys there, and the boys are excited, and the girls love to be where boys are. Are you doing girls' night out for the girls? Are you taking them shopping, doing nails, doing manicures, doing facials, doing mud masks? The girls love that kind of stuff, and they should be celebrated that they love that kind of stuff. You have 3 youth groups. You have one of guys and girls together. You have one guys and one girls. What are you doing in your ministry to honor all 3 of those groups? Think about it.
Next up is Fred Lynch, and he's going to share this devotional thought with you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Fred Lynch, and I want to share with you a quick devotion, a little bit from John, the 5th chapter. If you don't mind, I'm going to quote to you a little rendition of my version of John, the 5th chapter from the script. And I'm going to read a little bit of some of it, and I'm going to quote a little bit because we'll see how far we go. But it goes something like this. It says, "Soon after these matters, Jesus went back to Jerusalem because another feast of the Jews was on. And in the city there were 5 ponds near the sheep gate. In the Hebrew tongue, they would call it Bethesda. At the same place, a whole gang of sick folks would stay all day laying. The scene was amazing. Blind, crippled, and crazy, all there waiting. What the pool held in it was more potent than what the minerals they could wade in. From what the old folks were saying, there was an angel of the Lord that would pass that way a certain season, stirring up the waves and making, from what the old folks were saying, there was an angel of the Lord that would pass that way certain seasons, making waves and stirring up the irrigation. The first patient that would touch the water would get healed without need of payment. This one kid, an invalid, he overdid it. He stayed in the same spot 38 years like it was a bid. Jesus focused on this man stretched out, hurt and hopeless, and asked him, yo, this wholeness that you seeking, do you really want it? The invalid man spoke up and said, I really need it, but sir, when the water stirred, I always get defeated. I am never number one. Somebody faster always gets it, and all I do is miss it. Jesus said, that's it. Get up, pick your bed up. And at that, the man sat up, and guess what? At Christ's request, son just leapt up, picked up his pallet and grabbed it like it was a simple habit, and walked with the mastery of his limbs like he had mentally practiced. I love that verse. That's John 5:1-9. And incredible story of Jesus coming into this place, and all of these people were there, and he ran up on this cat that was like in his place stuck for 38 years. I don't know about you, but there's plenty of times in my life that I see places in my life where I'm stuck, and I've been stuck. What do you do when Jesus comes up on one of those stuck places? What do? Do you still find yourself holding everything down, staying there, and just gotten used to that place of being stuck? Kind of like this guy. He was like, Jesus said, hey, do you want to be made whole? This wholeness do you seeking? Do you really want it? But immediately, instead of saying, yeah, I want that, I've been wanting it for 38 years, and today's my day, somewhere along the line, this guy got off to the point of saying, well, maybe I was meant to be stuck. Maybe, because, the water's over there and I'm over here and I never have anybody to carry me and I never make it. He began to develop an idea or excuses to say, maybe I should just be stuck for the rest of my life and things will never get better. And Jesus dismissed all of that by just saying, forget whether you're going to get somebody to carry you over to this pond. Forget whether this pond really heals people. Forget about where if an angel comes down and touches it. All of the mysteries of how you're going to get well. If you really want to be made whole, let's do it. And so the man got up at Jesus' request. I just want to encourage you not to make excuses for being stuck. Jesus is passing by. If he wants you to be made whole, which I believe he does. I know there's places in my life where I find myself stuck and he comes by and he says, you want out of this? Last thing that I want to tell him is, yeah, I want out, but this is the way I was raised, or but this is my economic status, or but this is just who I am. If you want me to be out, God, I want to be out. Let's go. That's what I want to encourage you. Find out what Jesus wants for you. He may just want you to get out. And if you can get out today, would you get out or would you stay stuck?
Hey, thanks for watching the show this week. Man, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like maybe I shot this like in September or October, but no. This is San Diego. This is how we do January. It's 80 degrees. What's it like where you live? I've watched the weather. I know what it's like, but I want you to tell me. Why don't you connect with me? You can send me an email. That's adam@youthspecialties.com, or look me up on Facebook or MySpace or Twitter or whatever else. You let me know what the temperature's like where you live, okay? Can you do that? Do that just for me? We want to remind you, just like we do every week, that what you do in your ministry matters. You might not hear from anywhere else. We want you to hear it from us, from our heart to yours, that your ministry matters. It matters not only to us, but it also matters deeply to the heart of God. Thanks for what you do, and we'll see you next week.